looking for these guys, you got to really look. Because unlike these videos that you see all over the internet, the little short brief ones where you see the Sasquatch running through the woods, crashing through the brush, you know, scaring the crap out of somebody. The reality is these guys are quiet. You will almost never see one. You know, there are occasions when people really do see them. I've seen one time before I was really into looking for the Sasquatch. I saw one in Tennessee, and I have no idea why I saw that one so clearly on that occasion. It does happen, and I don't know why, what the difference is, but I know that most of the time these guys are very, very well hidden. They can cloak, and they're just so good at hiding. You have to really look, and they try to not be seen. So if you're watching these videos waiting for one to crash through the brush, it might happen one day to me, but that's not what I'm trying to show you. I'm not trying to show you a being crashing through the woods, scaring the crap out of you. I'm trying to show you what I think the reality is that these guys are really non-violent, very inobtrusive. They don't want attention. They don't want to be noticed. They don't want to hurt us. But they're there. There's a whole segment of reality that exists out here in these woods that is really poorly understood. I think people back in ancient times had a lot better understanding of what was going on in these woods and the beings that were in these woods. The Native Americans just have all kinds of stories about the different beings that lived in the woods, including the Sasquatch, but there were many others that they said lived in the woods. And while some of these, may be allegorical to an extent, a lot of them were not meant to be allegorical at all, or only partially, to teach a point. A lot of them, they were just telling you the reality of what was going on. And these are people that lived in the woods a lot closer to nature than us, and just knew a lot more about what was going on in this world than we do. And now in our scientific age, we have taken all these stories and just completely discounted them and wrote them off as being just myth, And these stories come from all over the world. It wasn't just the Native Americans. The Europeans have the same stories. You read the accounts of ogres, yeah, but trolls. And look at the old pictures, what they said a troll looked like. And man, you got a Sasquatch sitting right there. They said the same kind of things. These guys could be invisible. They could sneak through the woods unseen. They were big, hairy. They kind of thought they were brutish, but I believe that there was sort of a prejudice going on there with some of the Europeans. A lot of those stories come from times when the church was already in Europe and was influencing what people thought about things. And the church always taught that these stories were just ridiculous, and then if you did run into beings like this in the woods, they were some kind of demon or whatever, which I think is utter nonsense. I don't think these guys are necessarily all good and angelic. There are some people that will tell you that, and that's what they want to say. They know that all these guys are really highly evolved and closer to God than us and all that. And there may be some truth to that to a degree, but people don't know that. And then you got the other people that want to portray these guys, and these are usually people that want to sell you something, as wicked, beasts, roaming through the woods, scaring the crap out of everybody, violent, and I don't think that's the reality either. I don't think either one of those extremes is the reality. I believe these guys are like a lot like people. You know, there are good ones and bad ones. You catch them in bad moods and good moods. But from my experience, you know, watching thousands of hours of people's videos and coming out here and experiencing these guys myself, I believe that if you're respectful of them, they can read us. They know what kind of people we are, what our intent is when we're out there. And so, I mean, if you come out there with bad intent, you know, towards these guys, they may react violently. In fact, I've seen, you know, I've encountered people that I know. I got one family that I know of that bought some land in Virginia, went up there and discovered these guys on their land and didn't know what was going on. So they started, you know, throwing rocks at them and yelling at them, screaming, and the Sasquatch absolutely retaliated and came back and, you know, were bluff charging these people, throwing stuff at them. All right, you hear that? That could be a woodpecker. It was awfully loud. You know, I was hearing knocks earlier that were definitely something knocking at me. There was an area over there that has, there it goes again, that's probably a woodpecker. But there was an area over here that where a quartz vein comes out of the side of a hill. And I picked up several of the quartz rocks, and I occasionally clack them together. And something was over there in that quartz area. I couldn't see from where I was at, but I know from where the sound was coming from and the sound that the clacking was making that's what it was. It was something over there. Picked up a couple of pieces of the quartz and we're clacking them together, you know. And I just thought that was kind of interesting because that's the exact rocks that I have chosen to carry around and clack together, are pieces of rock that come out of that quartz vein. So I thought that was kind of interesting that something was clacking those same kinds of rocks in that same area back at me. I wish I'd have gotten it on video, but I didn't. You know, I don't have the video on all the time. I sit out here a lot of the time that you guys don't see. Just sitting back here, chatting, playing music to them, leaving them cookies, looking around for footprints and stuff. Alright, this video is starting to get long again, so I'm going to cut this one short now. And I might shoot another one here in a little bit up here by the tree gate. So y'all have a good one.